Welcome back. We are seeing it in politics, sports, and entertainment. Careers cut short by the ill-considered tweet. A top NFL draft pick whose career was almost over before it started because of using the N-word in a tweet he made in high school. The MSNBC anchor who made homophobic comments years earlier in the tweet, apologizing by saying that she has since evolved. The ill-conceived tweets by Donald Trump, they are aplenty, but it has yet to cost him. Joining us for more are Frank Alcock, political science professor at New College, and Chloe Comboy, digital producer at ABC7. And Frank, let me start with you because we're going to have this entire conversation about what you have tweeted in the past could hurt you today and tomorrow, but it's hard to find anybody who has had tweets that have offended more people than President Trump, but it doesn't impact him.
Trump is in a class by himself with respect to his posture is one in which he speaks his mind, and we've crossed the Rubicon a long time ago when it comes to saying outlandish things or things that nobody else can get away with. Somehow, for some reason, it seems to energize and attract some of his support base. So what he gets away with is not necessarily what other people can get away with.
That's your warning. Don't imitate him in that way, because the rules for anybody
you imitate Trump at your peril. You know, it could work for certain people, but I think many people think that they can get away with just speaking their mind, and it comes back to burn them.
Chloe, what is the rule of thumb in terms of social media? Let's say you're not famous, you are not in public office, you may not even be aware that in 5 or 6 years from now that you will run for office. There's nobody really monitoring and saving up your social media posts. How concerned should the average person be in terms of what is in their past?
I'm someone that's just going to be very careful with what I post on social media, no matter what. If I'm in the public eye or not, I'm just going to be very concerned with just my employer and my boss and my family and, what would happen. So just for everybody, a caution, looking at what you post. Is this going to offend somebody? Is your boss going to like what you're posting? Is your family and friends? And say you're just posting a funny joke on social media. If you were to say that joke in person and somebody were to be offended, you'd immediately apologize and say sorry. But if that joke is posted on social media and somebody doesn't like it, they can share that joke with thousands of other people on social media.
We've been talking about politics, so the reality is that employers are looking at potential employees' posts these days. College athletes, the schools are monitoring what their athletes are doing. So, I mean, there are people watching you even though you may not be running for office.
Oh, definitely. And there are people with time on their hands and willing to put in the research to look into you if they are employers, to see what kind of person you are, who you're friends with, what you're liking on Facebook, what you're commenting on Facebook. I mean, if that person has time to really research and dig into your social media past, they're going to be able to find out a lot about you.
Okay, we have to take a quick break. Our conversation on past social media posts will continue right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, here's a look at the delays. Not many at all. It's all green, really, across the United States in terms of airport delays on this busy travel night now. And looks like things are pretty bad in San Francisco right now. They have some high delays going on there due to the smoke, and also a lot of rain falling now across Northern California. Beautiful Thanksgiving for us, though. We're looking at high pressure dominating our weather, and that means lots of sunshine. We'll see some high clouds occasionally moving overhead. Now some rain is in the forecast on Saturday. It looks like Saturday afternoon and evening, a chance for some showers, mainly showers, nothing too strong, it doesn't look like. And then cooler on Tuesday as a cold front makes its way through. We'll see that happening Monday night and Tuesday morning, bringing with it a little bit of a chill for Tuesday and Wednesday with highs in the low 70s then. Well, as far as the overall picture goes, the temperature's currently already down into the 50s over the Panhandle. We're still at 67 degrees here in Sarasota. Temperatures generally in the 60s up and down the coast, although 70 in Punta Gorda, 70 in Sebring. Northport, you're at 69 degrees. The water temperature starting to cool too now at 74 degrees. And lows tonight will be on the cooler side to start things off on Thanksgiving. 54 in Northport, 56 in Lakewood Ranch, 57 in Parrish, and temperature a little bit warmer near the water at 61 at Anna Maria, and temperatures in the mid-50s in Arcadia and Wauchula. Well, radar picture not depicting any rainfall around. We do have some clouds, as I mentioned, but we're not looking at any rain moving on in. We have a few showers down to our south and east associated with that old frontal boundary, which did bring us back to near seasonal averages for highs today. As far as the future cast goes, well, look at this. Sunshine throughout the day tomorrow. As I mentioned, some high cloudiness occasionally moving through. The rain stays to the east of us and to the west of us, and that'll be the case as well on Friday. So Friday we'll see a mixture of sun and clouds, a chance for showers along the east coast. We are watching this area right here for the development of an area of low pressure, which could bring us that rainfall, as I mentioned, on Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening as we move through time. Now, the European forecast model will take us through Saturday now on the weekend, showing you that rain moving in. Depicted here, things could change a little bit on the timing, but as far as the rainfall goes, there's a pretty good bet that we will see some as that little weak disturbance moves across the state. Sunday, maybe a few lingering showers in the morning, but all in all, Sunday looks to be a better afternoon than we will see on Saturday afternoon. And then as far as our current conditions go, we have mostly fair skies out there. The high today was right at the average, 78 degrees, and this morning's low was 62. Right now, temperature 19 degrees in Buffalo, 7 in Ottawa. That cold Arctic air is spilling off toward the northeast into Boston, New York. Going to be a very cold Thanksgiving. Different story in Colorado and out west in Albuquerque. It's 54 degrees right now and 44 in Atlanta. Well, here's the forecast for boaters tomorrow. Winds will be out of the northeast to start the morning off at 15 knots and then switch to the north, and they'll drop down a little bit, 5 to 10 knots in the afternoon. Seas will be running right around 2 to 3 feet. The extended forecast calling for delightful weather on Thursday, Friday. Not too bad for all you shoppers out there who should be at the beaches. Instead, it'll be nice, 78 degrees, 50% chance for rain on Saturday. As I mentioned, maybe lingering into Saturday evening. Then the cold front moves through on Monday, cooling us down on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
There's nothing like this trail in Alabama. It just goes from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state. We see all kind of different terrains, great value and great fun. We've been coming for 18 years. We started off with a group of 8, grew to 12, and grew to 16. And we love it because where else can you get world-class golf courses with world-class accommodations? To be able to play these type of courses in this environment, and the difficulty keeps us coming back over and over and over again.
I just need a second.
Is your weight holding you back and affecting your health?
Did you see this? Your cousin had a heart attack.
Really?
Excess weight or obesity can be serious, but you can do something about it. Visit yourweightmatters.org. Download the free toolkit to prepare you to speak with a healthcare provider. Your weight does matter. Accept the challenge and take charge today. Visit yourweightmatters.org.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Women have shed their blood in defense of America since the dawn of the Republic.
What am I going to tell my neighbors? He said that my daughter's wearing a uniform.
Their sacrifices are profound.
Women are in combat.
And their noble accomplishments largely ignored.
When you're young, you think you created all that awesomeness.
Unsung Heroes, the story of America's female patriots.
The fight for the right to fight.
An inspiring saga of perseverance and triumph.
Sunday at 10 on ABC 7.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back. We are talking about the consequences of ill-advised social media posts, and joining us for more are Frank Alcock, political science professor at New College, and Chloe Conboy, digital producer at ABC7. So Frank, let me ask you this as an experienced campaign operative and former candidate. How does opposition campaigns, opposition researchers go about investigating your social media posts and now extending to your family?
It's not that hard. For people to take the time to look into what is essentially your storefront window. Social media is like a storefront window. Some people express more than others, but tracking back anything that you've ever did on Facebook, if it's still there, or Twitter, and when you try to take something down, it doesn't go down right away. There's ways of accessing the cache and getting things back. So in political campaigns, depending upon how much time and energy somebody wants to resource, if you're running for a prominent position or a competitive race, there's going to be a lot of digging that's done, not only for you, but for your family and anybody that's prominent or has some prominent position in your campaign. They'll find just about anything. They'll take things out of context, but what they use and what they find, those are two different stories.
I think we all know I ran for Congress 4 years ago, and my wife and I had that conversation with our children, teenagers at the time, to say, you got to watch what you say, because what you say, and even though you are a teenager, could wind up on the front page of the paper. But Chloe, I mean, that's kind of a hard message for teenagers who may be the sons and daughters of political candidates. It's, they're not running, it's their parent.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. No, I started working at ABC7 when I was 21, and I've kind of had to learn from starting off in my 20s here and now being 22. You have to be super careful, regardless if you have parents that are running for office or your employer. Social media is really changing the game. It can have you lose your job. It can, for Roseanne Barr, she lost a show from a tweet. Liking a tweet, you can lose your head football coaching position. I mean, is sharing your thoughts on social media really going to be worth it in the end? You're really going to have to decide, is this going to be worth my job? Is this going to be worth an election? I mean, that's what really people are going to have to think of when they share their comments on social media.
But isn't the difficulty, especially when you're dealing with young people, is you could explain that to them, but when you're a teenager, you don't always think first, and you don't always think about what the repercussions would be for you or your parents in the coming years.
You just don't know where you're going to be. And so while you could expect an additional degree of scrutiny if you're related to somebody that's running for a political campaign, I think it's good advice for every teenager that's out there. Again, I'm a huge baseball fan, as are you. I don't know if you Josh Hader from the Milwaukee Brewers had one heck of a season this year, but midway through the year, they dug up some pretty nasty racist things that he was saying when he was in high school. I don't think he's that person now, but it was a rough patch for him for a couple of weeks. Good practice. Just watch what you say,
and watch what you like. I mean, Chloe, Senator Ted Cruz from Texas, who is vehemently against gay marriage and so forth. There was a situation, was there not, where he liked a pornographic film, and that became a thing.
Yes, yeah, no, in a statement they released that it was one of his staffers that accidentally liked a pornographic tweet on Twitter. And again, liking something or retweeting something or just tweeting it themselves, I mean, that's going to get you into trouble. And we've had a lot of local issues with people liking Facebook comments and tweets. So.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on past social media posts will continue after a quick break, so stay with us.
It's year-end clearance time at every Gettle location. Over 3,000 new vehicles, over 1,000 used vehicles on clearance right now at Gettle.com. And Gettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Get credit help, fast cash for your car, and year-end clearance prices right now at a Gettle dealership near you. Gettle's got it. At Gettle.com.
Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP is the largest locally owned CPAP supply company in the area. Is it time to replace your old equipment? The staff at Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP can show you the most up-to-date CPAP equipment and supplies to meet your sleep apnea needs, including portable travel devices and the SoClean automatic CPAP sanitizer. We serve all of Southwest Florida, giving the highest quality of care with the finest CPAP equipment. Please visit our website, sarasotacpap.com.
Happy Honda Days are here, and you're gonna like the holiday clearance savings. Save on the Accord. On sale for just $249 a month. That's the North American car of the year for less than the competition. Our most impressive Honda ever. On clearance for only $249 a month, loaded with more options, including a turbocharged engine and Honda Sensing. Do not miss these Honda clearance savings this week at your local Honda dealer.
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hello, I'm Jess Dowdrick.
And I'm Ray Collins. Thanksgiving is finally tomorrow, and that means it's time to talk turkey.
Judy Gallagher will be in the studio live to answer your last-minute cooking questions and give you some tips on how to make Thanksgiving extra special. Tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast. John.
And so we'll be looking at changing weather conditions over the course of the weekend. We'll talk about that bright and early.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you. ABC7, the Suncoast's official Florida lottery station. You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking about the consequences of ill-advised social media posts. And joining us for more are Frank Alcock, political science professor at New College, and Chloe Comboy, digital producer at ABC7. Frank, we were talking about President Trump's tweets and whether or not it's a good idea. Obviously, you know, it's worked for him. But I came across this fascinating article called "Angry Social Media Posts Are Never a Good Idea." So let's show some of these full screens here because the author of it calls it Space and Think. Space. S, stop. Type it, but don't post it. P, pause. Wait for at least an hour before preferably sleeping on it. A, assess. Think about what you have typed. C, confirm. Check with someone else to see what they think. And E, execute. If it passed the test click, then send. Otherwise, delete it. I don't know if there's anybody ran this by the president. Let me go on for a moment. The think part of this. T, is it true? H, is it hurtful? I, is it illegal? N, is it necessary? And K, is it kind? The president's Twitter, @RealDonaldTrump, I think he might get a kick out of this, Frank.
Yeah, I think he violates all of those things on a regular basis. That's pretty good advice. I mean, and I think not just for what you do on social media, but email behavior. I think part of what we're seeing on social media, at least somebody that's had a professional life for 25 years, I've seen a lot of people really come across in a bad way on email. I think they're good tips, but the president doesn't follow him, and he's in a league of his own in terms of it works.
Chloe, it might be a good idea for the president. It's a good idea for everyone to consider that.
I think it is a great idea, but that is the great thing about social media, though. It does give us the expression for our freedom of speech, and yes, I agree that everybody should follow those rules just for basic, common sense and being kind to everybody. I think that's great, but that's I think what with social media the way it works.
All right. We also want to bring into this discussion to athletes and sports. And joining us right now by Skype is Matt Infield, a sports anchor from WSAW-TV. And Matt, thanks for joining us tonight. And we were talking a little bit about some athletes who have made some really questionable comments on social media and the impact that it had. One of the most recent cases was Josh Allen, who was the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. But it came out, I think it was in high school. He made some questionable tweets that almost cost him a career in the NFL.
Yeah, and Josh Allen is one that actually got lucky because he was viewed as so talented that the Buffalo Bills were still willing to take that chance on him at number 7, despite the fact that he had these questionable tweets in high school. And it's really just a matter of teams' evaluation of these guys. Do they think that is a reflection on their character now, or is it something that they have moved past? Another example up here in Wisconsin, more recently, Josh Hader, who was the National League Reliever of the Year for the Milwaukee Brewers, had some old questionable racist tweets brought up during the All-Star game while he was on the mound, while his parents and family were in the stands and they had to be escorted out of the stadium and things of that nature. So we've seen this time and time again. Sonny Gray at the New York Yankees, another one who had that exposed this year. And it's something that I question why it keeps on happening, because if I'm an agent for an athlete with any sort of professional aspirations, one of the first things I'm doing in 2018 is saying, give me access to all of your social media accounts. We're going to clean up anything that could potentially come up down the road, because clearly there are a lot of people that don't have a lot of time on their hands and will dig this stuff up. And once it's in the light, everyone sees it. And most importantly, agents, other players, and teams see it. And even if the team can get past it, it affects these athletes' branding for a long time to come. So I question why it still happens, because it seems like such an easy thing for a good agent to go and fix. But unfortunately, it does keep happening. And Josh Hader, Josh Allen, and Sonny Gray will not be the last guys burned by this.
What are teams doing about this? Are they putting more emphasis in terms of watching not only what their players are doing, but investigating what they've done in the past?
Well, so I can't speak for certain. I have heard about teams doing social media seminars and things of that nature, but I think it's a common sense thing. And now you do see that athletes that make tweets about questionable coaching decisions or things of that nature, they will get fined by their teams or the league for what they say online. But I think that some teams are a little bit more progressive when it comes to this, and they do have these seminars and they do have professionals that come in and say, hey, like, you need to clean this up, or you can't express yourself like this online, because whether they like it or not, privacy in 2018 is not a part of an athlete's life, especially with the advances of social media. And we hear all about athletes like Michael Jordan and guys back in the days in the 80s and 90s that said, whoa, I wonder what my early career would have been like if I had social media. But the reality is that is not a part of a young athlete's life anymore, and it's something that they need to clean up. And yeah, I mean, to my knowledge, I think that there are teams that are doing things like having seminars and informing their young players about the dangers of social media, as well as the benefits as well. But I think it's a team-by-team thing.
It's not just in the pros. My son plays Division I baseball, and just last week, his school had a seminar for all the student athletes, not only saying that we are monitoring your social media, but you better be careful about it.
Well, and I think collegiately, that's something that these guys are younger and they have lived their whole lives on social media. So a lot of them haven't had the exposure. They haven't seen the dangers that it can have. And it's a different kind of animal you're tackling here, because a lot of athletes are having their tweets exposed from 2010, 11, 12, when Twitter really started first exploding and blowing up, but it wasn't known that, hey, you can get these tweets searched 5-6 years down the road. Whereas if you're a freshman on a college baseball team, as you gave an example there, you've probably been on Twitter for the last 4 or 5 years since you were 13, 14 years old. Same thing with like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. And when you're at that age, you're not thinking about the long-term ramifications. You're just thinking about your next game, the next day, how to advance yourself in your collegiate career. But I certainly see that on a college campus, and I think that's even better that they're getting out in front of it at that point, because that is preventing those with professional prospects from having those issues down the road. But I certainly think at the collegiate level, that's something that good athletic directors and coaches will be tackling.
Frank, where's all this going? Because we see in other aspects of things what is I'll give you an example. There's a new movie coming out about Gary Hart, the former Colorado senator who ran for president, and the whole thing about whether he had an extramarital affair. That was huge news. When that came out, it ended his presidential campaign. Since then, you look at Clinton and now Trump and the reports of extramarital affairs, and the public doesn't judge the candidate based upon that aspect of their life. Could the same thing happen in terms of social media?
Yeah, there's a lot of things to sort out here. Let me just try to separate a few of them. I think one of the things that we're talking about is real-time reacting to events in a pretty polarized time in our society, and you have to be careful. There is the digging that happens to anything that you've said that could be captured on social media. There's our instructions, I think, that we're trying to pass on some advice to young people right now that might not foresee themselves under the microscope in 5 or 10 years. But nothing is truly erased from the internet, so we're trying to be careful. And then there is a climate, though, that what the public, how they would react to Gary Hart and how they would react 10 or 20 years ago might not be the way that they're reacting now, certainly not to the president. That's changing things. Things are in flux. But again, it's wise to be very careful about what you say and what you do.
And Chloe, we have a minute left here. You say the good idea for everybody is not to tweet it, not to post it, and delete it if you've done things in your past. But let's say that you go back and you do delete things that before they become public. Once you delete them, I don't know if you can answer this question or not, but are they deleted? Are they gone? Or is it always someplace?
I wouldn't trust it. I would still think that it's there. I mean, look at the Facebook data breach. A lot of people think that they had certain things on the internet that were gone and then they got a hold of them. So I wouldn't trust it. If you're even the least bit 1% iffy about the post, don't do it. Like your full screen said, kind of sleep on it, decide the next day if you want to post it, but I would just try to avoid it as much as you can and just pass on it.
We should probably disseminate that thing that I just read to every member of Congress and everybody considering running for president of the United States. Okay, stand by. We have to take a quick break and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment, so stay with us.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Introducing the ABC 7 First Alert Weather Tracker. This all-new mobile weather lab is just one more way. The team you trust is keeping you ahead of the storms. The ABC 7 First Alert Weather Tracker, sponsored by Mr. Sparky, America's on-time electrician.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say
I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. And Matt, let me start with you, because when it comes to athletes, it's not just what they post themselves on social media that's an issue. It's what other people are also posting about them.
Well, a great example of this recently was a couple of years ago. Larry Tunsil, very highly regarded offensive lineman out of Ole Miss, projected to be about a top 5 pick. Then this gets posted by his stepfather or something like that of him hitting a gas mask with some marijuana a couple of years ago, caused him to drop draft, cost him millions of dollars. So the reality of athletes and social media is this: at the professional level, is it going to cost most of them their jobs? Probably not. Will it cost them some money? Absolutely it will. And it's not just what they tweet, it's how they interact in public with fans in the stands. We saw Kevin Durant, the Golden State Warriors, have that the other night. But for collegiate and high school athletes, it can absolutely cost them a spot on a roster. My advice, it's usually never worth it. If you even think it might be controversial enough to cost you money or a roster spot, is it really worth it? It's something that's going to be interesting to watch going forward across all sports.
Frank, that thing with the bong, that happened right before the draft. Timing is everything. But the question to you is, with so much outrageous things that we're seeing both online from our stars, our politicians, are people becoming desensitized to it?
I think they are. There's a little bit of a counterforce there as our world becomes increasingly transparent, as we are losing our privacy, as everybody seems to be living in a glass house and having storefront windows. What was considered to be outrageous behavior and or commentary a decade or two ago, not so anymore. So in many ways, some of these things that get exposed blow over pretty quickly. But I'd be very careful in terms of drawing too many lessons with respect to just saying things will blow over. We're living in a different era right now, and I think it's wise to be very careful with what you put out on your storefront window.
And Chloe, here's the question. Whether it's Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, are these companies coming up with different kinds of policies on how to handle things like this? Because especially after the 2016 presidential election, there's a lot on their plate in terms of what's happening in other countries and so forth. Is this part of what they're also looking at?
With as into like people posting offensive comments or?
Offensive, and just trying to avoid situations where outrageous things become.
Yeah, I think with Twitter you see a lot of it. There's been a lot of reports of, offensive comment on Twitter, and they'll immediately take them down and ban their profiles. And then also with Facebook, they have community standards now, which sets up a rule of guidelines saying what is acceptable to post and what is not acceptable to post. And if it's unacceptable, they'll delete your post and suspend you from Facebook. So social media guidelines are getting way stricter on what you can and can't post.
Okay, we will have to leave it there. We want to thank our guest tonight, Frank Alcock, political science professor at New College, Matt Infield, a sports anchor at WSAW, and ABC7 digital producer Chloe Conboy.